Sincere Parker from McNeese
Yep.
State on
Love
board
him.
now. Zachary Davis, South Carolina. Penny is loading up on guards once again. It's kind of what he did last year. And going back to the well, how do we feel about some of these latest commitments for Memphis basketball?
I feel really good about the actual commits. I feel almost better about the guys that have taken visits that may commit soon, because they have Aaron Bradshaw, 7'1", former 5-star from Ohio State. He's been crystal balled by multiple different sources to Memphis. Doug McDaniel, who they were involved with very heavily when he was transferring from Michigan. Of course, he went to Kansas State last year. But I think there was some things going wrong there. Tyrese Hunter came in. Doug realized, okay, I have a better opportunity at Kansas State to play, so let me go there. But they've always been in constant communication. But Zachary Davis, I like him as sort of a big jumbo attacking the basket, slashing, athletic, rim running wing, and he can defend on the perimeter pretty well, and he can be switchable. You get optionality on the defense with him. Sincere Parker, I like him as a guy who can replace, I don't know, a half to 2/3 of the production PJ Haggerty is leaving behind as a scorer.
Yeah.
Like, I really think he's got that upside. He averaged 17 points per game in the A-10 at SLU 2 years ago.
Yep.
And then 14.5 on a very talented McNeese State team. Now, he is interesting because he shot 42% at SLU, like 29 or 28 at McNeese. I think he's a better shooter than what he looked like this year at McNeese, but still filled it up at a high level. Here's the question I want to ask both of you guys. Let's operate with the PJ Haggerty thing in mind, right? You have PJ Haggerty on one side, or you have, for the same amount of money, Sincere Parker, Zachary Davis, Aaron Bradshaw, Doug McDaniel on the other. What's or maybe a little bit more money, but let's just operate same amount of money. Which side are you picking? What are you picking?
It's difficult to say, especially because of what we saw PJ do this year.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, like, there was that constant scared feeling almost this year of that if one player goes down, this team is shot. And I'm not saying it did. And I'm not saying I want to go back to seeing 11, 12-man rotations. That's not what I'm saying. But, like, for your second rotation to be for there to be little drop-off in your rotations, you feel very good at. Quality over quantity, I mean, you can have that conversation a million times over and you'll see how it plays out. But to have multiple guys that can make up for that production and more, and obviously do different things because it's more than one player. You got people that bring size with Zachary Davis. You got different skill sets with these different players. And we obviously only half of these people have committed, so it's not all set in stone. It's nothing like that. But you just start to flesh it out and say, okay, if they have this and they have that and they have all these different dynamics, then yeah, you probably trade that for it, because we knew Tyrese, PJ, Dane, any of those guys go down, it's going to be rough. And we saw some shakiness when Tyrese Hunter got hurt. And we saw games when PJ Haggerty did not play well, that there was a lot of shakiness because there weren't other players to make up for those losses. Like, it was those three guys and nobody else. If you're 8 or 9 deep with little fall off, that's what the best teams in the country have. So it's not apples to apples. It's a difficult comparison to make.
Right. And I'm not asking you to answer it a certain way. I just want a realistic opinion.
I think so. I think if you have more players that do different things and you don't have to worry about, okay, this guy twisted his ankle, because it's almost an inevitability in basketball that somebody's going to miss a couple of weeks, that we don't feel like we're drowning if we lose a player, or if someone gets injured in the preseason, they have to miss that pivotal point in the non-conference schedule, that you don't feel like, okay, we're going to lose all these games and every bit of hope is shot. Like, say Tyrese or PJ would have gotten hurt in preseason last year, Memphis would have never made it to the tournament. Like, there never would have been what that team turned into. So, yeah, it's a hard comparison to make because we haven't seen it in live action. We can't compare, this is what it looked like this way, this is what it looks like that way. But as much as it hurts to say, because I love PJ as a player, one player versus, one All-American player versus 4 really, really talented players that could potentially be all conference type players at their ceilings, that it's hard not to say that you take the quality.
I think for me, I would love to cover a team that could say both and, right? Like I would love to have both, right? Like PJ Haggerty.
That's a great point.
And those other guys,
Not
right?
bad.
Like the fact that we have to make this choice.
I get it, but
it's tough, but it's the reality of the situation. So yes, I agree with what I think everything Christian said is on point. Being able to have that depth, being able to have, guys that you can trust, even if one goes down. The problem is that we've also been discussing how continuity is so important to Penny Hardaway, right? Like continuity of roster, continuity of the bench, continuity of his staff. And so there's a part of me that says, God, the continuity of having a freaking All-American for 2 years in a row would be freaking awesome, right?